So, have you ever had that feeling where you are just absolutely convinced you know how to say something in another language?
Oh, yeah.
Like the sentence is perfectly formed in your brain. You can
Yeah.
see the actual grammar textbook page in your mind's eye. You know the verb, you know the noun,
Right.
but then you open your mouth to actually speak to a real human being and it just clunks.
It completely falls apart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the signal gets scrambled on the way from the brain to the mouth.
Completely. The rhythm is off. The intonation is weird. You stumble over a vowel and suddenly
You sound like a GPS system running out of battery.
exactly like a dying GPS. It is
Right.
so frustrating because you know it, but you just can't flow.
You have just described the universal plateau of the language learner. That massive frustrating gap between passive understanding, like reading a book or watching a show, and active fluid production.
Right, the active part.
And honestly, that is where most people quit. They hit that wall and think, well, I'm just not good at this.
But today, we are saying to you, don't quit. Because we are looking at a source that argues the problem isn't your intelligence or your memory. The problem is how you are training.
Exactly.
We are doing a deep dive into a very specific training session from English Easy Practice. Now, on the surface, this just looks like a standard language lesson.
But it's not.
No, it's really not. If you look at how it's built, it is actually a blueprint for cognitive training.
That is the right way to frame it. I mean,
Okay.
it frames itself as a speaking practice, but if you strip away the cartoon characters, it is a neurological workout.
Yeah.
It explicitly says, let's start training your brain to think and speak in English.
Yep.
That is a very bold claim. It's moving away from the academic study of language and toward what we might call fluency conditioning.
Conditioning is a great word for it. It feels less like a classroom and more like a gym. And what I love is that they don't just throw dry theory at you.
No, they wrap it in a narrative.
Right. They wrap this conditioning inside these really specific, slightly entertaining social scripts. We've got friends planning a trip to a science museum to see some robots, and we've got a guy having a legitimate existential crisis over a big exam.
Which basically covers the entire spectrum of the human experience.
Yeah.
The fun logistics of hanging out and the crushing anxiety of performance.
Exactly. So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack the methodology, this three-step process they use, and then analyze these scripts to see what they're actually teaching us about social maneuvering and psychological resilience.
So let's get into it.
So let's start with the promise. The source opens with a pretty confident statement. It says, if you watch this many times, you will see real progress.
I want to highlight the many times part.
Yeah, it doesn't say watch once and be fluent.
Right, and that sets the stage for the entire philosophy here. The source creates a hierarchy of engagement. It starts with what they call relaxed listening.
Relaxed listener.
The instruction is literally just relax and try to understand the main idea.
Which, can I just say, is incredibly difficult for me. When I'm learning something, relax is the last thing I want to do.
You want to control it.
I am a total control freak. I want to catch every single word. If I miss one adjective, I start to panic that I've lost the plot.
But the source explicitly says, don't worry about every single word,
Right.
because that panic is exactly what blocks acquisition.
Yeah.
In linguistics, we talk about the affective filter. When your anxiety is high, your brain literally shuts the gates on new input,
Wow, so it just bounces off.
basically.
Uh,
By telling you to relax and just get the gist, the source is trying to lower that filter so the language can actually get in. You're tuning your ear to the frequency of the language, not analyzing the data yet.
so it's permission to be imperfect.
It's a requirement to be imperfect,
Mm.
at least in phase one. But then it immediately shifts gears into phase two, which is listen and repeat.
The drill phase.
This is the drill phase. You hear the phrase, you say the phrase. It's the brute force method.
But then comes the third phase, and this is the one that really caught my eye. Shadowing.
Yeah, shadowing.
Now, I've heard this term thrown around a lot in polyglot circles, but for you listening who haven't, how does the source describe it?
This is the critical piece. Shadowing is distinct from just repeating. The source instructs you to read your lines out loud after the speakers as they talk.
Wait, so you aren't waiting for them to stop?
No. And that's the key difference. In listen and repeat, there is a pause. You hear hello silence. You say hello.
Right.
In shadowing, you are layering your voice over theirs, usually on a slight delay, maybe half a second. You are chasing them.
It sounds chaotic.
It feels chaotic at first. But the source claims this focus on rhythm and intonation will sharpen your pronunciation and overall speaking abilities.
How does doing it at the same time help more than repeating?
Well, when you repeat after a pause, you tend to use your own flat intonation. You say the words, which you use your native language's melody.
Ah, I see.
When you shadow, you are forced to mimic the speaker's musicality, their rise and fall, because you're riding their wave.
So you're trying to become an echo.
In a way, yes, but an intelligent echo. You are trying to mimic the music of the sentence, not just the vocabulary.
Which makes you sound natural.
Exactly. The source points out that this helps you sound more natural rather than robotic. A lot of learners sound robotic because they are assembling words one by one like Lego bricks.
Yes, exactly.
Shadowing forces you to treat the sentence as a single fluid unit of sound.
I really like that distinction. Assembling words versus flowing with them. Okay, so that's the gym equipment, right? Relax, repeat, shadow.
Right.
But you can't practice in a vacuum. You need content. And the source provides two very distinct scenarios. The first one is a social invitation. We have Lily and a friend.
And what's fascinating here is to deconstruct how the source builds this conversation. It's not just random words. It is a masterclass in social maneuvering.
It starts so casually. Morning, Lily. Do you have plans for Saturday?
And Lily hits back with, not really why.
Which is such a useful low-pressure opening.
It teaches the learner that you don't need a complex preamble. Not really why is a perfect invitation for a pitch.
Yeah, it signals availability, but it doesn't commit to anything yet.
Right. It puts the ball back in the friend's court.
And what a pitch it is. The friend suggests the new science museum. But they don't stop there. The source makes sure to include specific attractions to make the dialogue vivid.
They mention a cool space exhibit.
And planetarium show.
Which adds great layers to the vocabulary.
Yeah.
You aren't just learning museum, you're learning exhibit. You're learning planetarium.
But did you catch what the friend in the dialogue is really excited about?
Oh, I absolutely did.
It's the robot display.
The robot display.
They are really excited about the robot display. I just love that specific detail. It gives the character a bit of personality.
It really does.
They're essentially saying, look, space is cool, the stars are nice, but I really want to see the droids.
It gives it personality, and from a learning perspective, specific details stick in your memory much better than generic ones.
That makes sense.
If they just said, let's look at science things, you'd forget it instantly.
Yeah.
But robot display creates an image. It connects the language to enthusiasm.
Then they move to logistics. And this is the part that I think is super practical for anyone listening who is traveling or living abroad, making the actual plan.
Yes, the agreement is very precise. Maybe we can meet at the main entrance at 1.0.
It models how to propose a time and place clearly.
And the confirmation. Okay, 1.00 is good. It's simple, but it closes the loop. How many times have we made vague plans that never happened because nobody set a time?
Oh, all the time. Let's hang out soon.
And then you never see them again.
Exactly. This script teaches you how to lock it in, but then right at the end comes the life hack. I call this the insider tip. The friend says, don't forget your student card for a discount.
Now that is a high-value sentence.
Right. That is the kind of friend you want.
It is. But linguistically, it's doing something complex, too. It's a negative command, don't forget. But it's used as a helpful reminder.
And culturally, it introduces the concept of the student discount.
Which is a huge part of life for many language learners who may be studying abroad. It's teaching you the vocabulary of saving money.
Don't forget your student card. It's such a natural thing to say. It builds this little bond between them. So we've got this breezy, fun plan to see robots and save money.
But the second scenario...
Oh, boy. The vibe shifts completely.
It does. We leave the sunny science museum and enter the dark cloud of exam prep.
We meet Ben and Anna, and Ben is spiraling.
Ben is in a state of genuine distress. The source describes him as finding the situation so stressful. He says, I've been studying every day and I still don't feel ready.
We have all been Ben, that feeling of running on a treadmill. You're moving, you're sweating, but you aren't going anywhere.
He literally says, I feel like I'm not making any progress.
And this is where the source gets kind of meta, because while Ben is talking about a generic exam, he is effectively describing the experience of learning a language.
Oh, absolutely. I've been studying every day and I don't feel ready. That is the mantra of the language learner.
It really is.
So this dialogue is designed to teach emotional support scripts, but it anchors everything on one core idiom. The source repeats this phrase multiple times to ensure it sticks. No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. I feel like I usually hear that in a gym shouted by a guy with huge biceps while he drops a heavy weight.
Exactly. And the source actually makes that connection explicitly. It defines the idiom by saying, example, if you want to get fit, you have to exercise a lot.
Oh, so it uses the fitness analogy to explain the intellectual struggle.
Yes, it's framing language learning or exam prep as a muscle that needs to be torn down to be built up.
So Ben is in pain and he's not seeing the gain yet. And this is where Anna comes in. If the friend in the first dialogue was the fun planner, Anna is the coach.
She really is a coach. Look at how she responds to his despair. She doesn't just dismiss it.
Right? She doesn't say, oh, you'll be fine.
No, she validates him. She says, trust me, you're making progress. But then she manages his expectations. She says it just takes time to see the results.
That is such a key phrase. It just takes time.
It connects the concept of results directly to duration. The source defines results as things that happen because of something you did.
Cause and effect.
Exactly. Ben's input, which is studying, will lead to output, which is results.
Yeah.
But the variable is time.
She also gives him a little ego boost. She says, keep pushing and you'll be proud of yourself after the exam.
Proud. That is a very powerful emotion to attach to studying. It shifts the focus from the fear of failure to the anticipation of pride.
And it works. Ben agrees. He says, I guess you're right. And he commits to the mantra, I'll remember no pain, no gain.
It's a complete narrative arc. Conflict, crisis, intervention, resolution. And all of that is just a vehicle to get you to repeat the phrase, no pain, no gain, and hard work always pays off.
Which is an interesting point. The source isn't just teaching English grammar here. It's teaching a specific cultural value set.
Grit.
Yeah, grit, persistence, and the idea that effort equals reward.
It's telling the learner, this is hard, just like Ben's exam, but if you stick with it, you will succeed. It's meta-commentary on the learning process itself.
That's true. Ben is basically a stand-in for you, the listener. Ben is stressed about his exam. You are stressed about learning English. Anna is telling both of you to chill out and keep working.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've shattered the museum trip. We've shattered the breakdown. Now the source does something that completely catches you off guard.
It stops being a passive listen and repeat session.
Exactly. It turns into a drill.
Yes, the interactive drill, or what we might call active recall.
It's the Q&A section. The source says, I will ask you questions, try to answer out loud before I give the correct answer. It really puts you on the spot.
This is a crucial pedagogical shift. Up until now, the listener has been receiving information. Now they have to retrieve it.
Under a time limit.
Yes. The source claims, and this is really worth noting, that speaking practice is the fastest way to improve fluency. They are prioritizing output over input here.
And the questions they ask are essentially a comprehension check on Ben's misery. Let's look at what they actually ask, because it forces you to really understand the situation.
Right. They ask things like, is Ben ignoring his big exam?
And you have to shout at your screen, no, he isn't.
Exactly. Is studying relaxing?
No, it is stressful.
Does Anna say hard work goes for nothing?
No, she says hard work always pays off.
It seems simple, almost childish. But think about what your brain is doing in that moment.
It's doing a lot.
You have to understand the question. Recall the narrative facts, formulate the grammatical negation or affirmation, and speak it. All within a few seconds of silence provided by the video.
Yeah, it's high pressure. It forces you to stop translating in your head and just react.
And that reaction speed is the literal definition of fluency.
Really?
Fluency isn't knowing the most words. It's accessing the words you know without a delay. It's narrowing the gap between thought and speech.
They even ask, does Anna tell Ben to keep sleeping?
I love that one.
I wish she did. Take a nap. But no, the answer is no, she tells him to keep studying.
The drill reinforces the narrative and vocabulary simultaneously. By the time you finish that Q&A, you know for a fact that Ben is stressed, studying hard, and that Anna believes in no pain, no gain.
You can't unknow it because you've had to actively defend those facts out loud.
Exactly.
And that really brings us back to the methodology we started with. We've gone from just chilling and listening to Ben's problems, to repeating his problems, to shadowing his problems, to answering questions about his problems.
It's total immersion in a micro scenario.
So if we zoom out, what is the big takeaway here for you listening? We've got this one source material. Is it really enough?
The source itself gives the answer in the outro, actually. It says, keep watching this video every day for 1 week.
1 week on the same exact material. That sounds, well, kind of boring.
It sounds incredibly boring to us because we are addicted to novelty. Yeah. We live in a world where we constantly consume new content.
Scroll it next.
Right. We want the next dopamine hit.
Yeah.
This source is arguing for the exact opposite. Go deep on one thing. Master the rhythm of the museum invitation. Master the intonation of the no pain, no gain speech.
It's about depth over breadth.
Exactly. If you watch this, once you learn some vocabulary, you vaguely remember planetarium. If you watch it every day for a week and you do the shadowing, those phrases, they become part of your neural architecture.
What time should we get there? Hard work always pays off.
Yes. You won't have to think about them next time you need them.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like learning a song. You don't listen to a song once and know the lyrics perfectly. You listen to it 50 times until you can sing it in the shower without thinking.
And that is essentially what shadowing is. It's singing the song of the conversation.
I love that, singing the conversation. So we have the mechanics, listen, repeat, shadow. We have the content, making plans and giving encouragement. And we have the strategy, consistency over novelty.
And we have the underlying philosophy, which I think is the most important part of this whole deep dive.
Which is?
Whether it's Ben studying for his exam or you studying this material, the message is identical. Results are not immediate. They are the accumulation of small, painful, repetitive efforts.
No pain, no gain.
Precisely. The source applies it to the exam, but it's really talking to you, the language learner. You will feel stupid. You will feel repetitive. You will feel like a parrot.
That is the pain.
But the gain is that moment when you walk up to a friend and effortlessly say, "Do you have plans for Saturday?" And it feels as natural as breathing.
And let's not forget, you'll also get that student discount.
If you remember your card.
If you remember the card, that is vital. But it's funny, we usually think of no pain, no gain as this aggressive, sweaty concept. But in this context, it's actually quite comforting.
How so?
Well, it means that the struggle you're feeling isn't a sign that you're failing. It's just the cost of entry. If you're feeling the pain of repetition, it means you're actually doing the work required for the gain.
It reframes the struggle as progress. Just like Anna told Ben, trust me, you are making progress. You just can't see it yet.
So here's a final thought for you to take away today. The source gives us this idiom, no pain, no gain, and applies it to studying and exercise. But think about your own life right now. Where are you expecting gain without the pain of repetition?
That is a great question. We often want the fluency without the shadowing. We want the expertise without the drills.
Exactly. We want to be the expert at the museum without doing the week of watching the video. So maybe the challenge for this week isn't just about English. Maybe it's about finding that one thing you're trying to master and being willing to be boring.
Being willing to repeat it.
Being willing to shadow the masters until you sound like yourself.
Be like Ben. Keep pushing.
And be like the friend. Don't forget your discount.
Always good advice.
Thank you for diving deep with us into the mechanics of fluency. Go out there, find your rhythm, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.
Keep practicing.